What do you think about the hopes of them even competing at the European level next season generally? Hello, good evening. This is Taiwan Ojobi once again on Lanonasis Meko Sports. We like to always bring unfiltered opinion, sharp analysis, and some big love for Canadian hoops and ice. Today is a good day. We have the opportunity to talk about football. Today is going to be run by Taiwo, your commentator, analyst, and unapologetic fan of the game. Today I'll be, having a couple of my friends join me as usual, Joshua, Crespo, and we're just going to break things down. We didn't have too many, matches being played the weekend under review, but at least there are a couple of things we can just break down. So Crespo, just give us some 2 cents, and Joshua, then we dive right into it.
Yes, it's good to be back. Interesting weekend. Not too many games, but some very interesting topics to talk about. On everybody's lips. The Arsenal now perennial second position. Would that be the case? Let's see.
Yeah, they call them perennial all-stars now. It's also a major word they say in basketball. Joshua, you want to say hello to everybody?
Good evening, everyone. Whatever you're watching this from, and happy Friday. Happy to be back again to talk about sports. It's been a week since our last episode, and a lot of things has happened since then, and can't wait to talk about them.
Yeah, Emmanuel.
Good evening, guys. Happy to be here again today. Looking forward to the discussion. It's been an interesting week for us Arsenal fans, and some shake-ups in the world of football, but happy to be here to discuss them. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's a good time, to really talk about football, because I was, catching up with some other football lovers earlier today, and I was telling them the kind of pressure that Arteta and the Arsenal team is really going through. I really feel for them, because they are letting that pressure get to them, and it's affecting the way they are approaching matches. And that kind of mentality is the opposite that we have with Manchester City. And that's why they've been able to grind out these wins. And, in all honesty, even the Manchester City is really not good enough compared to the kind of team that they've had 2 years ago and even last year. But they are still able to find a way to grind out that win. And we're going to get right into it. But today we'll be starting from Chelsea. Manchester City. It's been a tough week for them with the sack of their coach. And, presently now they are looking like they are the lowest point. Since when Maresca left, I think the odds have just kind of been like, what is really going to happen with Rosnell coming in? Is there going to be continuity? Even though the fact that a lot of people thought that, okay, an English coach, has been in the league, played also in the league for a while, but so far he's not been able to get it right. And now, he's been asked to go. But some of the numbers that kind of gave me an idea that is actually beyond just their composure is a bit more. They did about 58.7% on possession. For me, I call that a sterile dominance against Manchester United. They did 21 shots, but only 3 were on target. They had 7 corners, but no threats. 1 save from United just tells everything. And if you look at it generally, you can tell that United had 4 shots, but only 1 was on target. And that was the winning goal. 1 corner, barely even attacked. 3 saves from, if you just look at it generally, you are like, they played better than, Chelsea. But let me just allow Joshua give us first, dig at it. What do you think generally is wrong?
About the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, again, nothing really special about the game. It was a real definition of where both teams are. And for Chelsea, it was, again, nothing. I didn't expect more than that because of the terrible run that they've been on and the slump. So I really wasn't expecting anything from the game. And it was just like that. Again, like you said, Manchester United had 1 shot on target, and that was a goal. It was a mix-up, defensive error. The could have defended better. But it was just a poor performance from Chelsea all around, as it has been in this run, and hence why they've had to make a change just 4 months after the new coach. So it must have been terrible. It's been a terrible run. They have lost the last 5 games in a row in the Premier League without scoring a single goal. Wow. That has not happened since the 1920s. So it shows you how terrible Chelsea has been. And the players have to take a look at themselves also in this form, that this is not what the level you expect. Irrespective of the manager, what has happened, you have to go there to still put in a good performance and play for the shirt and perform. And a lot of the players have falling short of that in this terrible run. So a lot of things have a factor to why all of this has happened. But again, Manchester United got the win. This is what they needed, which has almost kind of cemented their Champions League spots, which is good news for Manchester United as a company, and also for the club in the future in terms of being able to attract players. Who knows what coach they might still get. It's a good place to be, right? And that would help Manchester United going forward. So good kudos to Manchester United for the win. But for Chelsea, it's a tale of what might have been this season. It's just a shame for how this season has gone. Considering how last summer was good, they won the European Cup at the end of the season. This summer they won the World Club Cup. They started really well. The Barcelona got a draw at Arsenal 10-man, and from that point, our season just went downhill from the whole Maresca and the board issue. It's really a bad spot now. It's left to see what will happen next season in terms of also the managers, the philosophy change from the owners to try to get more experience. Would they go for a world-class manager, or would they still go with trying to use all of these young and upcoming managers? But again, they put out a statement that they'll go on a self-reflection to see what happens. But we'll see. But all in all, again, it was not a game that had a lot of fireworks or was spectacular. It was a drab game. Someone called it Battle of the Beats. So
Yeah.
it was the look was actually like a battle of the meats, but Manchester United did what they had to do to get the 3 points.
Yeah, that's true. And, Crespo, looking critically at where they are now, Manchester United is 10 points ahead of the same Chelsea team. If we had this conversation 2 months ago, it would have been a different thing that we'll be saying. But right now, as a Manchester United fan, I'm excited that at least Carrick has taken them to a place where we can confidently say that he has done what it takes to be able to put themselves in better positions to compete at the European level. And that's where really Manchester should be. But looking at the fact that Chelsea has dropped to about 8 on the table, 10 points behind Manchester United, what do you think about the hopes of them even competing at the European level next season generally?
For Manchester United, again, if we go by history, I think during Ole, we did something similar. We showed everybody, hey, there was something about this United side. And shortly after 6 months, it got into the job. The bad habits, those things that we have always mentioned, started again. And from what I see, it's like we're repeating the same script. Yes, it's good. Carrick is doing fine. However, if you look at that game against Chelsea, I'm not sure there's so much to be happy about Manchester United. And even if you look at it, the games Manchester have done are the games where they were like the underdogs against City, against Arsenal. When you expect them to play toe-to-toe with teams, they really haven't shown that they are ready for that level of competition. Again, if you look at the Champions League games, see the quality of games we're watching, or look at the game, the game between Arsenal and City. That was high quality game. I'm not sure United can give us that kind of game.
That kind of quality.
Yeah, and if we're not even close to that level, we're as good as every other person is having a bad season. That's why where we are. I'm not sure with this United starting this season with the same team, we'll be in this position. We can't compete against Bournemouth. We can't compete against Fulham. We can't compete against Leeds. They tell me, really, yes, we're happy we are where we are, but I'm not sure we should say we're in Wuru land. I still think we're still far away from where we desire. For me, United, yes, we're in the Champions League prime position to get it. However, the signings during the summer would give us a glimpse of what to expect. If we don't sign properly, like proper midfielders, hardworking players, high quality players that can compete with the likes of Arsenal, City, and even the other teams in Europe. Yes, we'll go to the Champions League and most likely be kicked out in the group stage or struggle or come out of. We're back to square one because I'm not sure this team can play many games and win many games. This season we played the least amount of games amongst all these teams.
Yeah, it was just 40
in the top. We were out of the carling of the cups as early as forgotten. We lost to a Division 2 team.
Yeah.
So again, I'm happy we are where we are now, but I'm not excited that things have changed or things are going to look better because the gameplay for me is neither here nor there. So again, let's see what happens in the summer. It's good to be where we are now, but I hope we don't go back to the same problems we've always been talking about.
That's true. That's a good one. Manuel, what do you think generally about Chelsea? Looking at the optics, Manchester United looks like they've probably done the job. They've gotten it. But I was also looking at the fact that if Aston Villa is able to go ahead and win the Europa League recently, it means that England has the opportunity of extending a sixth team within. So it means like it will be coming down to more of a Brentford, if I'm not mistaken, not even where Chelsea is, because Chelsea is still, I know Everton can still break in, but we're just looking at worst case scenario. Let's even assume nothing changes. In what kind of scenario do you think Chelsea has the opportunity to even compete at the European level?
I mean, Chelsea has been since Rosinha came. I mean, they started very well when the guy came on board. You know, won a few games, only lost to Arsenal, I think, and then all of a sudden, things just started going downhill for them. You know, poor performances here and there, red card, and then the coach too not getting the tactics right in most of the games that they played. Not scoring at all in 5 games has been very, very poor. So I don't know whether it was the right decision to sack him. I don't know if all going on is just him alone or not the players. You can see the players, of course, have their own part. Looking at the table the way it is right now, Chelsea is 8th position and they play the game more than Everton, Brentford, and Fulham, right?
Sunderland.
And Sunderland played today. They lost against Forest today 5-0.
Yeah.
So Chelsea right now, if Everton or Brentford win their games this weekend, Chelsea will probably be maybe around possibly around 10th position.
10th.
Yeah, because the difference between Brighton and Chelsea is just 2 points.
Yeah.
Even Liverpool is like 7 points ahead of them.
Exactly. So in terms of Chelsea making it to Europe, it's looking very, very slim for them, looking very difficult.
Very, very slim, yeah.
Everton and Brentford are not playing badly right now, right? They're not as consistent as the top guys, Chelsea and Man City and Arsenal, but they're still not playing badly. I mean, they're winning some games here and there. So if Chelsea doesn't get themselves together with the new coach, the Nigerian coach coming in right now, they probably might not even make Europe, even if they send it to 6 teams, right, to get Champions League. Maybe if 6 will go to Champions League, they might have the next 7th and 8th going to Europa League. Maybe they might be looking at the Conference League again, right? Where they might end up if they don't get their acts together or start winning some games. So which is quite shocking for a team like Chelsea, given what they've achieved, in recent times, from the time of Abramovich and Jose Mourinho, winning Champions League winners, Club World Cup just last beating PSG last year in the Club World Cup.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's not looking good for them at all. It's not looking good for them. It's likely that's where they might end up the way they're going, because they've not been able to score goals in the last 5 minutes. So they've lost all their games without scoring a single goal. Against United, against Everton, they're going to score. So the way it's going, it's looking tough for them to make it to Europe.
Okay, thanks so much for that input. I want Crespo to quickly jump on the position for Tottenham. It is very abysmal the way they are now. A late goal coming from Brighton it just made all the efforts to look more like as if they're not putting in the right effort, and I felt so bad for them. But looking at where they are presently, it's not really in their hands anymore. Though it's still in their hands if you're looking at the number of matches that are left. But if every other person wins their games,
They are going down.
that means there will be problem. They are going down the way it's going. Because West Ham looks like they are going in the right direction. Nottingham Forest, they also won today.
Yeah, a big, massive win.
And they won 5-0 today.
Yeah.
So it means that they want it more because they know what is directly, under them. And they are still in European competition. They won 5-0 today.
Yeah.
I have a feeling Sunderland is already closing down for the season, because I don't know why you allow a Nottingham, though they've gotten 46 points, which is okay for them. But you now allow a team like Nottingham beat you 5-0.
Yeah.
I think that match should be investigated. They should investigate that match. 5-0.
Nothing to play for.
It's too much. So, okay. Just jump at it. What do you think?
Yeah. I just think Tottenham is they're in a race, don't know how to run. It's like you take a very fast guy to do the 5,000 kilometers and he thinks it's about sprinting, and he sprints the first 100 meters and he thinks he's ahead, and the other guy just catch up and he's like, hey, what's going on here? I'm running so fast, but I'm not moving. So I think that's what's wrong with Tottenham. They're in a race, they don't know how to run, and it's just unfortunate that they didn't do the things they were supposed to do. Just last season, they were with Manchester United dragging 16 and 17, and I don't think that was enough for them to take lessons from. Same things they did that led them to 16, 17, they did the same up till the point of they're in a situation where now that they cannot get a win. They don't know how to get a win. The interesting thing is, Nottingham Forest is on 39 points. What they need is another 3 points and they are safe. So it's a battle between two teams from London that are going to go down, either West Ham or Tottenham. So one of them would go down.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is West Ham seems to be familiar with that terrain because for a long time they've been, so not a good thing to be, not a good thing to be known for, but it's like they're familiar with how to deal with that scenario and they are doing well. They are doing what they need to do. It's not yet over for Tottenham, but amongst the guys struggling for survival, they seem to be the only one that don't know how to survive. Play the survival game, and it's going to be a miracle if they don't go down. And by such, it's going to be a big loss for them because they've got a lot of international big players in that team. And how do you manage that wage at the lower league? So again, it's interesting times. As much as the top position is interesting to watch, we're also looking for who is going to go down on the last day. Let's see how it pans out, because I know Tottenham, they've got to play some of the guys also around them before the season ends. So let's see how they battle it. And like you mentioned, very sad one. It would have been a different story today if they had won that game against Brighton 2-1. But late minutes go from, I think that was this Mitoma.
That Ruta boy, Jorginho.
Yeah. No, was it Ruta or Mitoma?
Jorginho.
No, it was Mitoma.
Mitoma scored in the 45th minute.
Okay.
It was the Ruta guy that scored the
Ruta scored the final. So, that that kind of game would be like, we wish would have gone with 3 points, but they still have a chance. They have the squad, they have the team to win all the games available by names on their squad. They should win almost all the games left. But it's football, and when you are fighting for your life, those teams down there are the worst teams to play against. I remember one time towards the end of the season, West Brom beat Man U 4-0 some seasons ago. So it's a different ball game when you're looking for survival. So again,
that's true. Emmanuel, do you want to jump on it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at the games that both teams have to play. So West Ham plays Everton this weekend, and West Ham is home. So of course, Everton is not a small team to beat, right?
Yeah, so gonna be tough.
That'll be a tough one for them. Then they play Brentford next weekend. Brentford is home, right? Then Arsenal, Newcastle, and then Leeds. So what is it they have to play, man? I don't know how they are going to do it to win any of this because they're playing against very strong teams. Yeah, so you probably say of this one, the win against Leeds is where you can think maybe they can grab a point or two from the other ones. Yeah, I think you expect them to lose to given their current form, given where they end the table, right? Then you never know. While Spurs plays Wolves, they have, like we said, they have to win Wolves. Then they play Aston Villa.
Yeah.
After Villa, they play Leeds, then Chelsea, then Everton.
Wow, that's still tough because Leeds are also doing really well. Aston Villa, Leeds, Chelsea, that's a tough.
Yeah, Aston Villa has got the Champions League to fight for. Leeds,
exactly.
by all means, they want to keep a good form.
Exactly. Even Everton too is fighting for Europe.
And Chelsea too wants to get back.
No easy game for I don't know. One of them is, of course, one of them.
That's why I think they have to beat Wolves because that's the easiest of their last. That might be the only thing they can win.
Beat Wolves. If Spurs cannot beat Wolves, then it's good as seeing that they're gone because I don't see how they
don't deserve to call. You don't deserve. You should just.
I don't see how they beat Villa, Leeds, maybe Chelsea, given their how they're doing currently, and think that they might be able to beat Chelsea, but then Everton. So I mean, where West Ham is right now, and again, like I think Crespo said it, West Ham is used to this sort of battles. Spurs is not used to it. They're not used to being in this situation. They were last year, but maybe they didn't go as far as getting to being 18th on the league table. They ended up around 16th or 17th or so. So this time around, I don't know, between West Ham and Spurs, it's looking like if I say who I think will go down right now based on what has happened so far, I would say Spurs because I mean they're 18th. They're not used to these sort of battles. So West Ham still has a chance to to do well and stay up. But I mean, fair play to them. They've tried to hold on. I mean, these are managers that have been trying. They've won a few games recently, drawn some tough games as well. So let's see, where they get to by the end of the season. It's just an interesting one because next 5 games it looks like there's still a lot going on at the top end of the table. Just that's City. Then at the down end of the table, you have Spurs and West Ham fighting for that number 6, 17 position. So let's see how it goes. Interesting times.
Yeah, it looks like between Another team that is also under pressure, which we have not really spoken about so much, is Newcastle. Newcastle is just on 42 points. This is a team that last season was on fire. You understand? They're just
Yeah,
on
they were in the
42
Champions
points.
League.
And I think they are 14th presently if you look at the table.
Yep.
It's so bad that they are under so much pressure. So Arsenal definitely wants to win every other game left because that's the only way they can give themselves a chance now that Man City has gone above them. So they need to win that match. But now on the flip side, it puts more pressure on the Newcastle coach because it's just a complete mess. I know the Newcastle team will probably still keep him because they are surviving. But 42 points for a Newcastle, a club at that level, especially with the fact that the new owners are billionaires, from the Middle East. It's not good enough. But generally, Joshua, what do you think about Newcastle and where they are and where they should be?
I mean, I've talked about it. For Newcastle, it's a very interesting scenario for Newcastle because they are almost like in the crossroads now. And of course, they've not been very good this season. The table tells you that they were in the Champions League this year. And I think just because of how limited their squad is, it's affected them playing Champions League and League. If you remember, in his first season, he made Champions League that season. The next season, it affected them in the Premier League, but they didn't qualify for Champions League. And then the next season they did qualify for Champions League, and then this season we can see how it's also affected them in the Premier League, having to play in Champions League and in the league just because of how limited their squad is, and that's really been the Achilles. But of course, you still think that the players are good enough to be doing
grind out something.
What they are doing currently in terms of, they are safe, but you can see how terrible their performance has been. It's interesting to see how they show up against Arsenal because historically that's usually a tough game for Arsenal for some reason. Newcastle, I don't know who is at home, but Newcastle Arsenal is always a tough game. Remember the ball crossing the line, the Gabriel header that was a foul, the Gordon's header, and all of that is always to be an interesting game to watch. But for Newcastle, it's really interesting because they had issues starting the season, of course, with the Isak situation.
Yeah.
And how that disrupted their season at all. But also, I just feel like a show where I listen to Simon Jordan says, Eddie Howe is a brilliant manager. I think he's a good manager. I think if he were to leave, either he leaves or they sack him after this season, I think he will take a time off and then he'll go to a big club, right? Because he's really good. And he would always say at the time that he doesn't think Eddie Howe would take Newcastle to the promised land as the fans maybe hope or the owners hope, just because of the conditions for which Newcastle are playing in at this current time, that he doesn't think he will take them to the promised land. He thinks he will be the bridesmaids. He won't take them to the front line because what do the Saudis, what do they hope to achieve with Newcastle? Like you said, they are the Saudi billionaires, but they can't spend on the team because the restrictions, the PSR, you cannot spend a certain amount more than you make. So, and how do you make that money if you're not in Champions League? You can't make that money like Manchester United, Manchester City, Chelsea, who are the traditional clubs. So it means invariably you will never be able to spend like them, except that will changes. So it has made teams to be able to challenge the big boys as they did in the past because of the financial restrictions. The way Man City came, the way Abramovich came, where they were able to pump money and make Chelsea and Man City be able to challenge Man U, Arsenal and Liverpool. But Newcastle cannot do that now, so they are limited. That's why they can't buy a lot of players and they have to sell. Isak had to go this summer. Gimares might go, Tonali might go. Gordon, there's chance that Gordon might go to Arsenal. He might go. So that leaves the manager with little to no options. So it's almost like you're sitting on this cash cow, but you can't spend the money. You can't build the squad. And that has limited how they are ceiling, basically. So that's the conundrum with Newcastle and the football fraternity, which I don't agree with. I think that takes away the opportunity from any team to be able to challenge the big boys. That means not be able to be like a Man City anymore or a Chelsea anymore because you won't be able to make that money to spend. So I think rich owners should be able to spend money as long as they have a bond that shows that you can sustain this money for a number of years so they don't go into administration if you were to pull out. But again, that's by the way. So I think that's part of what has affected Newcastle and why they can't push above their weights and why, in as much as they have good players, as we all know in football, when the big boys come calling, those players would move. because you cannot compete with them in money, in salary, and in titles, as we've seen with Isak now, right? And who knows, it will be Gordon next, Bruno Guimaraes next, Tonali next.
Yep.
Then the team is gone. So it handicaps the coach. You already have a ceiling. So that's why I've always remained of the opinion that Eddie Howe will take them as far as he can. And then
Yeah.
eventually the team will be disbanded, because once they realize that they assemble this team, but they can't push on because of
Yeah.
the limitations they have, which is what they are in now. They bought all these players, they've gotten to that peak, they got to Champions Leagues, they won a trophy. So, and that's the end now, because to then go to the next step, you have to invest more.
More money. Yeah.
So where does that leave you as a team? Those players will leave. You have to start again to get to that spirit, and the coach will also leave too. So unfortunately, it's the nature of the beast, and they are unfortunately will not be able to. You can't take them to the promised land as far as he can.
You can't, bro. That's true. So, Craspo, why you just chime in on that briefly? I just wanted you to talk about the Aston Sunderland match. The composure and the way they approached that match was very desperate. You know, that match ended up with about 7 goals. And, you know, Aston Villa was able to, you know, get away with the win, winning about 4-3. But what does that tell you about the mentality of Aston Villa bouncing back? There was a time they were falling they were not even in the top 4 at some point. But right now, it looks like did Chelsea drop for them to be able to come back up, or they themselves kind of repaired that mentality and decided to give themselves a chance generally?
I wouldn't want to say that. I think what Joshua said is practically the same thing with Aston Villa. Aston Villa is they've got a squad that when they spread them too thin, they begin to drop points. And if you notice, if you look at it, I think it's a good one for Villa at the end of the day that they didn't go to the Champions League, because the Champions League would have taken a much
To
more
stretch them out.
more
Spread them out.
than the Europa League in terms of quality of opponents that they've been
Yeah,
playing.
that's true.
And so that's
Yeah.
why you see that even all through the season, if you look at Aston Villa, they do well in a patch of games, they drop points, then they come back, and they are back at their regular wins. And it's a good time for them also with with the Europa League that they are playing in. So again, I like Joshua said, I just think it's PSR issues that these teams are having to deal with. How do they build that fan base that they can make money outside stadium from merchandise, from deals, such that when they bring in big players, those are buffers to show that they can sustain the business of having these big players in those teams. Just like Joshua said also, the FA is looking at the point where if you don't take charge of controlling those kind of monies that come in, a lot of things will go into administration, because some people will come with pseudo money, pumping the money, you remember what happened about 4 or 5 years ago, where sign-on fees was going for as 300 and something million.
Yeah.
How much did they buy
The Pogba style.
Neymar
When they're buying
and
Pogba and Co.
Coutinho at ridiculous prices into teams, you know? So that's what happens
Yeah.
to football, you know? And that's why you don't see the same thing in basketball, because basketball, you have team has cap. Once there's a cap,
Yeah.
you can, you know, there's a way, you know. So football does not have that. So football is driving towards that. However, like Joshua also said, it's affecting that level of competitiveness. So we're seeing perennial winners, and the other guys just keep playing catch up and survival games, trying to stay in the league. However, for Aston Villa, I think they are doing well. They are not punching too much above their weight by not going to the Champions League, or for the past 2 seasons they tried. But what I think they are doing is they are buying and selling. You know, they are buying and selling. That's what Newcastle has not been doing. Newcastle has not been selling. They sold Marlen. They've sold a number of guys. They've brought back Abraham. You know, so they are playing get the average players around. I guess they are dealing with the money matter, and that's why we saw in their performance against Sunderland. Was it Sunderland over the weekend?
Yeah. They beat Sunderland 4-3.
Yeah, and they were leading 3-0 at some point, and decided considering again. Again, that the coach removed the key players and brought in some French players, you know, to end the game. And it was like, hey, what's going on here? Are we going to let these 3 points go? And luckily for them, they got the goal, the winning goal. So again, I just feel Aston Villa, those teams around that area are struggling with their finances, and dealing with the PSR issues to compete. Let's see how far they can go. Again, like Joshua said, I'm not sure what Aston Villa can do. They're not going to be able to sign a blockbuster player. They will still have to make do with average players coming to the team. And also, you won't be surprised. The FA will be looking strictly at them to see that they are not messing around with the books. So again, we can see what's happening with the teams in the lower league. Leicester now they're in Division 3 now, just because of the books. Just because of the books.
Yep.
So again,
Yeah.
it's something interesting to see. Let's see how the FA is able to manage all of this, because we look at a lot of unfairness again. Sorry, I'm taking a little while. Look at Man City.
No,
The charges against them, they are not over.
yeah, they're still in court.
They are still in court. Those are the things that are affecting a lot of teams now. So again, kudos to Aston Villa. They are back. Let's see how long they can maintain that position. And luckily for them, Chelsea is dropping points again. So
Yeah, that's true.
let's see how Man U, Liverpool, and Aston Villa fight for that position.
Position, yeah. I think they will comfortably get an European spot, whether it's Europa League or whether it's Champions League.
Consider, I mean, because like you said, if they win Europa League, they're good Champions League. So
Yeah,
we might have a lot more teams in Champions League next.
And they also have a coach that has won Europa League too many times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think he has won it 4 times in his entire
Yeah.
lifetime, maybe 4
Yeah.
or 5 times.
yeah.
There's a time he was going with Sevilla almost 3 times back to back.
yeah,
But their next game is with Fulham. They should be able to confidently beat Fulham, because Fulham is not motivated to do anything.
yeah.
They are just
They have a
behind
good season, and that's all.
They are one of the
Season
teams that are fighting for 40 points per season. So I'm telling you, so they are just there directly on top of Crystal Palace. So I think they should be fine. And another part which is a little bit of a digression is shout out to Coventry. They are coming back to the Premier League.
Super Frankie.
And I'm really happy for
Frank Lampard.
for that team. I think they've gone since 2001 or something.
Yeah, this
20 years, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what I'm
Yeah,
telling
they've
you.
gone since
Like
2000.
25 years.
Early 2000 was when they went. They had not come back.
Yeah.
And Frank Lampard was able to do a good job with those guys. And it's good to also see players that have struggled when they coach Chelsea and they go to a smaller team and they just do well. Not like Fabregas that went straight to Como and brought Como, all the way,
Mhm.
But I like what I'm seeing so far. The next one is one of the most difficult parts that we're going to be getting into. Manchester City versus Arsenal. How did we get here? Emmanuel, how did we get here?
That's the big question, man.
I don't even know how we got there. It was just a speculation before.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's
That
not
if
real.
Man City can win all their matches, they'll be on the same points. But right now, it's real.
Well, I think it's a combination of different factors, right? So the first one I'd like to point out, I know they say we have a large squad, and Arsenal has a large squad. That is true. But there's some players that if you miss those players, your team will still suffer. Just like Man City missing Rodri, for example, and that what happens in the season. And
I think he's even injured now. He's injured now.
injured right now, yeah. So you can see the impact of some players in the team. Saka was out. He's been out for like 3 to 4 weeks now. Impact been out for almost 2 months now. Calafiori is out. Odegaard just got back in that game, even though he played quite well. Who else is out? Merino is out. These are guys who were our first team players last season, right? And who,
Mhm.
the victory against Madrid, those victories that you can remember Arsenal for last season, they were there, right?
They were there.
I mean, not to say we don't have enough people. We have people who can fill in, but can they do the job the way they will do it and the way the team should play? It's probably one thing. The second factor is that Man City too has gone. They bought well in the winter.
January.
They bought in January. They bought Semenyo and
Semenyo, yeah.
Gay.
Semenyo has not been playing well, if you ask me.
yeah, lately hasn't played, but when he came in, he has
when he came in.
9 goals already. Right, so but he hasn't been so great in the last 3-4 games. But Maguire, that defense is now looking very solid. Right, it was shaky before, but Maguire and Kusanov is now
Yeah, all of a sudden.
Kusanov is back.
Yeah, he's
playing really well.
When he came back from the injury, it was more like he rejuvenated when he came back
Exactly.
from the
So for Man City, that's probably what has led to their better performances. Haaland has not even been firing, to be fair.
Mhm.
It's just
No, it's when Semenyo came that Haaland stopped for a bit.
exactly. And you have that midfield of Rodri and what's the guy's name? Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva is just like that. That guy is just awesome. When I watched the game against Arsenal, he was everywhere on the pitch.
Yeah. Pep Guardiola even praised him. I don't know why they're letting him go at the end of the season.
He's 31. I think it's just age or something. I don't know. Maybe he took us. He's been there for more than 6-7 years. He's been there I think. So
He
he's
came
one
from
of
French league and he really adapted
Monaco.
to Pep's system.
yeah,
Okay.
Came from
exactly.
Monaco. Yeah.
So that's
Even Czech, came from Lyon now.
yeah.
I don't know. And in Lyon, I don't think he was even outstanding in Lyon.
He was. He was.
Yeah,
And then check
I
it
think
too.
he was second best player on that team in Lyon.
Yeah.
it is.
It was like second best player on that team.
Man, you will know now. They met in Europa League now. That
And we beat
4-4
them
game.
now.
Yeah,
We
that's
beat
true.
them. We
That's true.
forgot him. We beat them.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, so that's what. And again, secondly, thirdly too, right? Man City is used to this kind of things. They are used to, Guardiola just knows how to prepare teams to win a cup, right? Because he knows that at this part of the season, that's when you need your best players to actually
Business.
perform, right? So at the beginning and end of the season, you don't need your best players to perform. Arsenal, I'm sure Guardiola knows that already. But then when you have those best players injured, what do you expect? To be fair, our attack has not been clicking the last since even with Gyökeres and Saka and they've not been playing really well. Our strength has been our defense.
Yeah, that's true.
City has scored more goals than Arsenal, right? So that's why they are top, right? They scored 69 goals, considered the same goals as we've conceded. Despite how poor the defense has been in the last, maybe before January or so, they've conceded the same goals that we've conceded. So that's why they are above us. So if you look at it either way, City is not as weak as people are saying that they are. Yes, they are not City of the previous years where they would just win all their games at once. But I don't see these guys winning all the games that they have left to play, because they've got to play Everton, they've got to play Bournemouth, they have to play Brentford. These are guys fighting for Europe. So I don't see them winning all those games. So there's still a lot to play for. And looking back to Arsenal, how did we get here? Is the combination of being in great form and Arsenal not having that mentality, to see games through. For example, we had no business losing against them against Bournemouth.
Definitely.
Drawing against Brentford, drawing against Nottingham Forest. Those are the games that brought us where we are. Because against Man City, they played very well against Man City. It was a great game of football to watch. It was high quality. When I watched the first 13, I was happy. I was like, even if we lost this game, I was like, yes, these guys are playing very well compared to what they played against Bournemouth and against Man City at the Carabao Cup final. This was a far better performance by the teams. When we lost the game, I was like, I felt bad, but I was like, this is not the game that we lost it. We lost it, those in that I mentioned, against Forest, Liverpool, Brentford, against Bournemouth. If we had won those games, that's like 8 or 9 points.
9 points, yeah.
That we threw away, right? Not saying, of course, you can't win all the games, right? But if you had won 2 of those games at least, it would have been like what? Maybe
6 points ahead.
6 points ahead, or even 5 points ahead above Man City. I mean, right now we're level on points apart from goal differences, so there's still a lot to play for. So let's see how it goes. So when you ask me what led us here, that's what I think led us here. So I hope that we're able to win all our games going forward and score a lot of goals. It's not just about winning right now; it's about scoring more goals. So it's about who wins and scores the highest number of goals that will now win the Premier League. Right?
Exactly.
And we're it's like a level playing field right now. We Man City just with just 1 goal difference.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's see how it goes in the next 5 games. But they both have tough games to play. We're playing Newcastle. Yeah. We have to play. We have to play. No, we already played Everton. They have to play.
I mean, City is playing Everton. They are playing Bournemouth
and Brentford. Right. Those are quite those are tough games. Right. So let's see how it goes. I hope that
Man City is also still in. They are also still in FA Cup.
Yeah,
so it gives us an opportunity to go ahead again.
Exactly.
But they have to score goals. They have to score goals.
They just have to score goals. They just have to score goals. Because
if Arsenal plays the way they played last Saturday, they play like that against Newcastle, they surely win and they'll score like 2 or 3 goals.
But I'm not sure. I'm scared. I'm sorry. Newcastle, like Joshua said, Newcastle is always they can win Newcastle, but I've not seen them blow Newcastle away.
No, but we have in previous years. We've been at like 3-4-2, 4-1 or something in previous years.
Last time they beat you guys, there was always a struggle. They beat you guys in either in the beat in Emirates and you guys beat them in.
That was some years ago, but not this Newcastle side. These guys they have
again, yeah, I agree with you. I honestly, like you said, I don't know how Arsenal got here. I expect them to do better.
Yep.
But Joshua always said something. When you are not playing well and you are winning, analysis can make sense. But the moment you start dropping points with that bad or so-called defensive style, then all the analysis comes out why you are not doing well, and that's what we're seeing. Arsenal is not scoring. They've not scored in a long time. The Champions League game against Sporting was not looking good. They could not score, I think, at Emirates. During the Carabao Cup final. Again, the goal they scored against City was City giving them, what's his name? The one they were supposed to score, they did not put it in the net. So the question is, Arsenal is not scoring as they started this season. For a long time, kudos to the defense in Arsenal.
Yep.
All those corner kick goals and, then it was looking like, it was okay. Like Joshua said, the moment you don't win, all those your corners, people will be like, is that part of the game? And that's what we're seeing now. So I think Arsenal really need to, but I believe with the guys coming back, Saka and the other guys coming back, we should see a better performance.
Yeah, I was going to mention that with Saka coming back might be a boost for that front line, because like you said, that front line has been probably
Been
since
blunt.
January has not been firing.
Yeah.
And Havertz did well against Manchester City. If maybe not match fit, if he was maybe match fit,
you would have
probably
buried
scores
some of
that
those
chance.
chances. Yeah,
He probably scores that chance that he gets, but is this. And he came late in the game also. So for someone who has not played all season, that contributed. But like Emmanuel said, they played well against Man City because, of course, maybe it was a big game. They knew they had to raise their level.
to step up. Yeah.
They played well. It's left to see how that translates into the remainder of the season. But also something we are now talking about is in the middle of this, Arsenal are going to play Atletico Madrid twice.
Yeah, that's true.
Who knows it to be because Arsenal don't have a large squad now. Injuries, we don't know who will come back, but it's still a big game. The semi-final of a Champions League is a big game. Newcastle is a big game, and the ones they will play after. So Arteta will have to manage that team. The players will have to manage themselves.
At this level of football, you don't think about the game that has not come. you play the one in front of you.
No, I think the point is that you need to manage players' minutes. So that
I know that
manage. No, see,
they can't play 90 minutes. The same 11 plays 90 minutes against Atletico Madrid.
Football sometimes momentum. Atletico is playing poorly. They've been losing to almost everybody that comes at them. Forget about the team that has not come in front of you. Focus on the next game. See, sometimes at this level of elite football, don't forget, even if you say a team is Newcastle that are not good enough, these are elite athletes. So if you take your eyes off Newcastle and you're thinking of Atletico,
on the ball, they can.
You will. Newcastle beat you 4-0. You'll be like, what's going on? And that one that you're even looking at, you not have the morale, proper disposition to go play that game. So scratch it. If you ask any coach, even as much in their mind, they might have Atletico at the back of their minds, but they will tell you the game in front of me is the most important game. If he's going to play his best leg to get the win against Newcastle and manage some boys and get a draw in the first leg against Atletico, of course, there's for Atletico you can come back. With Newcastle, once you goof against Newcastle, it's over. You don't want City to have 3 points ahead of you. If City gets 3 points ahead of you, if right now it's goals, and we're all quite sure that City will score goals.
City has a quite
sure because I thought they were going to batter Burnley, but they didn't batter.
When I mean we will see the way Burnley played. Burnley played.
But like 7 people at the back.
So, and even at that, they had so many chances that would have gone into the net, balls hitting the crossbar and the likes. That's
because when I saw Lance scoring in the 5th minute, I was like, wow, this is going to be a long night for Burnley.
Yeah,
That's what I thought too. That's what I thought too.
Though we can't, again, if anything comes at City right now, again, I never even expected this City to be this good at this point. But I must tell you, City has improved. This is not the City of 3-4 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think Bernardo. I think Bernardo they've improved, or the other people are.
Well, I think they just improved.
I know they've improved because they're looking more solid.
Yeah, the level City was
even the midfield. Bernardo Silva, Rodri.
I think Bernardo leaving, announcing he's leaving, is like the team wants to win something for him. The team wants to win something for him, and it would be nice if he gets the league.
He started from that Carabao.
Carabao. Is game
final. It was one that led the charge in that Carabao game.
Yeah. So again, I want Arsenal to win because I think amongst all the teams in the league, they've been the best prepared for this season. It would be a shame on the league if City didn't even. I'm not sure City had a chance until Arsenal started dropping those points.
They were not even thinking. They were like, at some point, you were thought now. Aston Villa were second for a long time.
Yeah.
And
people were there was no title race.
There was no title race.
So it's
there was no title race.
It's
I'm
embarrassing.
sure that Villa cannot believe they are in this position. Like
it's shocking. Arsenal is right now.
So again, I think losing to Bournemouth was so key. Like Arsenal had no business losing that game.
That is psychological
effect. Ones too. Drawing to Brentford,
drawing to Wolves,
even the Carabao, losing of the Carabao.
I didn't even mention Wolves. Drawing to Wolves. Oh no. It's just.
I think there were 2 goals up against Wolves.
Yeah, 2 goals up.
So I think again, like you said, is now a foot race to the finish line by both at the same point. Just one goal, so it's winner takes all right now, and interesting to see how it plays out.
Because that's why the league was lost. All those because it's one of the best teams in the world right now, right? They're a good side. So you lose against City, not bad, but against Wolves, against Bournemouth, don't be shocked. City go to Bournemouth and they beat them like 2-0, 3-0. Right? So that's team that you should if you look at that, 2 points Wolves, 2 points Brentford, 3 points against them. That's it.
If you remember the game, I think this province was Sunderland. Remember that game that they drew to Sunderland? That last minute
Yeah,
goal
they drew
from
to Sunderland
Robbie.
too.
I was like, this is not good.
Yeah, that
They had
Robbie last late minute goal,
yeah.
2-2.
I was like, this is not a good sign.
No, but then you could say that was a while ago in the season, right? That was
that was December. That was December.
Was it December? No, it wasn't December.
Yeah, it was. I remember that game. We discussed it, and I was like, I'm not sure this.
I remember again.
And I'm like, this is not a good sign that because it was 2-1. Then last minute or something, Robbie came and 2-2. So yeah, expecting Arsenal to do the.
I think we've answered the question. How did we get here? We've been able to know how we got here. A lot of things have happened within those couple of weeks. And one aspect I just wanted to raise that was a bit of a concern was a couple of top players that will be missing the World Cup because of serious injuries. Last week, we talked about Ekitike. That was more of Achilles. Now, Bayern Munich, Serge Gnabry. Even though Bayern Munich has comfortably won the league, Serge Gnabry now has an abductor muscle tear, serious one. You understand? And he has announced that he has ended the season automatically, can't play again. And he will most likely be missing the opportunity to play in the World Cup. Estival too had an hamstring.
Yeah.
Joshua and that young guy, missing out on the World Cup is going to take him another 4 years.
Yeah, they're thinking that's a possibility. This is the second hamstring. He just recovered from one.
From one. I remember when he came back from that.
So again, it boils down to the question of something has really happened from that Maresca time, because prior to that, were almost injury-free in terms of this type of injuries, also hamstring. Reece James didn't have any. But since then, we've had more injuries, especially like this hamstring-related injury. This is Estival's second. Reece James too also was out to hamstring. So again, like I said, hopefully it's going to be a race for fitness now to see if he can be fit, but it's a doubt now for World Cup. But luckily he's only 18, so he still has his future ahead of him, and he'll have a chance to go for
playing the World Cup again.
Ticket too, still young, and he'll have the chance to represent France. But it was just sad because he was going to make the squad.
Yeah, he was in a good form.
He was going to go. He's in good form, and just a shame. But again, it's part of football. Injuries are part of the game, and we just hope he can recover well for next season and start firing again. Before you know it, the Euros will be here, so he will be able to represent France.
Exactly. I think, it just reminded me of the fact that it's a player like Ryan Cherki will most likely be playing for the French team.
He is, yeah.
Because he's had a very, very good, very, very good
second
season.
11 of the French team can up on their own. Like the second 11.
Yeah.
If they play against, they're so talented. I don't even know what Deschamps would do, because they can't pick. I think they are just only 26-man squads.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have, especially in the attacking phase, their abundance of talent.
Yeah, abundance. Yeah.
Yeah. So it looks like another player will be leaving Man City at the end of the season. John Stones was celebrated. I think I watched a video where they did like a small party. It's been a while.
He's not been fit. I'm sure that's why they're letting him go. If he was playing regularly, he's just 31.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not like he's old.
Even Bernardo is 31 too, and he's leaving. So he's
leaving. Yeah, I think it's a new era for Man City. They're just, they are rolling things over. A lot of older players are going.
No, then I think those guys want to taste, maybe not Stones. I think Bernardo just wants to enjoy. He's won everything with City. I just really wants to see another side of maybe last stint in another European
team. Going back to maybe Portugal or Spain.
No, I think he's going to Spain. I think he's going. I might end up in Madrid. I don't know.
But he's trying. I remember they wanted to sell him one time to Barca. Barca came for him then, but he stayed behind. But like I said, and Stones didn't start his career like this.
Everton.
He was a regular for City, always fit, won the treble. You know, at the time when he switched, when they played
DM.
With the possession, he was going to be in the midfield.
In DM,
and he did well. And he did well in that position. That was when the year they won the treble, and that was like inverted forward. Like Pep just came off it, did that at the time, and because of how technically gifted Stones is, he was able to. He can play with the ball very well. So, but since that season, he's just been
Yeah.
battling
Injuries.
injuries
Yeah.
every season, and it's a shame. Because ideally, if it was fit, yeah, and Maguire are the centre backs for England also.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we'll go to World Cup. I don't think he will have enough match fitness for World Cups.
Yeah.
It's been a shame the type of injuries he's had. Like so many injuries. I was just checking in news also of Tottenham. People might not even remember that this guy still plays for Tottenham. Dejan Kulusevski.
Yeah, he's been injured for
like 2 years. He's not played for
Even-
more than
even Maddison.
one season and a
Madison
half.
too.
yeah,
And they didn't sell
Madison.
him. That's the thing. He's still
Madison.
Madison.
James
Yeah,
Madison.
Madison had an ACL in the summer.
Yeah.
this year.
But
You know,
like,
ACL, you're out
Kulusevski has
for
been
9
he did
months.
play all through last season. He's not playing the end of this season also. But who
Yeah.
knows if he'll make to the World Cup? And that's one of
No,
their
he
man
can.
pick where
Yeah,
that
I'm
guy
not
is
sure he can.
quite
Yeah, he's good.
talented.
Yeah.
And it's
It's
just
also part of what has affected Tottenham till today.
yeah.
Because we talked about their injuries and their key guys that have been out for extended
Madison,
period.
Kulusevski, Kudus would have made a
Kudus,
difference
yeah,
to that.
yeah, yeah.
to that
Kudus,
performance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just hope that they don't relegate because those guys will leave if they relegate.
They will
They have
leave, yeah.
to.
If
The
they don't
books,
leave, they
the books,
even
they can't
pay
keep
cut.
up.
There's always a
Yeah.
relegation clause in all their
Yeah.
contracts.
It's not always easy. And but a lot of clubs will just clear them out. A
Yeah,
club
for
like
cheap.
Chelsea will pick
Buy
one
them,
or
we
two of
get
them.
for free.
Exactly.
For like
Most
cheaper.
of those clubs will pick them up. Yeah, I think we've done so well with time. We've been able to push a couple of things. I think finally Mexico brought out a statement that they are doing a lot to ensure the safety of players.
Ugh.
And when they come for the World Cup, I think this is still the most unpopular World Cup that, a lot of tickets are selling out, but hotels are not being booked. Nothing is happening. Activities are not showing like the World Cup is around the corner, but,
Yeah.
Because
you
like
never
just
can
50
tell.
days, less than 50 days to the World
Less
Cup.
than 50 days to the World Cup. People are not even showing any interest to travel to the US. So most people will probably want to but though there's been a very high number of people that are subscribing for like networks that can help them watch from their countries comfortably, but physically traveling to the US to buy tickets and stuff is only the big boys that are doing that now. Been able to
Yeah.
do well with time. At least we did 57 minutes, 10:49 Mountain Standard Time. Thank you so much, guys, for making our time. We talked about
Thank
football,
you.
even though we didn't have so much matches, but there were, a lot of things that we're able to push. Hopefully tomorrow we're able to see some magic happening. Arsenal get the opportunity to probably bounce back and get that mental fortitude back to be able to keep pushing. And once they win it, Arteta can go on vacation anywhere in the world. But let's just hope that he's able to get it done. Thank you so much, guys, and have a wonderful weekend ahead, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Have a
thank
good
you.
one.